A woman as the unexpected storm. The rain came down in relentless sheets, the kind that blurred the world into smudges of gray and silver. Sophia tightened her grip on the steering wheel, her knuckles whitening as her small car sputtered and came to a reluctant halt on the winding country road. The engine's last groan left an eerie silence, save for the rhythmic drumming of rain on the roof. She was stranded in the middle of nowhere, with no cell service and dusk rapidly approaching. Ahead, a dim light flickered in the distance. With little choice, she pulled her coat tightly around her and trudged toward it, her heels sinking into the muddy road. The glow belonged to a modest farmhouse, its weathered exterior standing strong against the storm. Sophia knocked on the wooden door, her heart pounding. A man in his 60s opened it. He had kind eyes, a weathered face, and wore a plaid shirt that hinted at a life of labor. "Evening, miss. You look soaked to the bone," he said with a warm southern drawl. "Name's Thomas. What brings you out here in this weather?" "My car broke down," Sophia replied, her voice trembling. "I was on my way to an important meeting in the city. Could you help me, please?" Thomas glanced at the rain, then at the anxious young woman before him. "Well, I ain't no mechanic, but I can give it a look in the morning. For now, why don't you come inside and dry off? Got a spare room and some hot soup?" Though hesitant, Sophia nodded. She followed him inside, grateful for the warmth. The barn's mystery. As they entered the house, Sophia noticed the coziness of the space, quilted furniture, a roaring fireplace, and photos of a smiling family adorning the walls. But something seemed to weigh heavily on Thomas's shoulders. His smiles didn't quite reach his eyes. Later that evening, as they talked over soup, Sophia couldn't help but ask, "Do you live here alone?" Thomas's face clouded. "Lost my wife years ago. And my daughter, well, she left home a long time ago. Haven't heard from her in years." The pain in his voice was palpable. Sophia, feeling a strange tug at her heart, placed her hand on his. "I'm sorry. Family is everything, isn't it?" Thomas nodded, his gaze distant. "It is. Or at least, it should be." The rain had slowed by then, and Thomas offered to show her the barn where his tools were kept, saying it might give her car a fighting chance come morning. As they stepped into the barn, Sophia froze. Her eyes widened as she took in the sight before her, a corner of the barn filled with dusty boxes, a child's rocking chair, and a mural painted on one wall. It depicted a little girl with bright eyes holding hands with a man who could only be Thomas. "Why do you have this?" Sophia whispered, her voice barely audible. Thomas turned, confusion etched on his face. "It's my daughter. I painted it years ago after she left." "Why do you ask?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Because I think I'm her." A daughter's return. The room seemed to spin as the realization hit them both. Thomas stumbled back, his face a mix of disbelief and hope. What are you saying?" Sophia wiped her tears, her voice trembling. "I was adopted when I was 8. My biological parents, they told me I was from a farm. I never knew where, and I stopped searching years ago. But that mural, that's me. I remember that dress, that smile. You're my father." Thomas's knees gave way, and he sank onto a bale of hay, his rough hands trembling. "All these years," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I thought I'd lost you forever." Sophia moved toward him, and they embraced, their shared grief and joy pouring out in tears. A healing reunion. The storm passed by morning, but in the farmhouse, a lifetime of hurt was being mended. Sophia shared her journey, her struggles to find a family, and how she'd built a life in the city. Thomas told her about the endless nights he'd spent praying for her return, never losing hope. That day, Thomas not only fixed Sophia's car but also her heart. She left the farm with a renewed sense of belonging, promising to return soon. The heartwarming lesson. Weeks later, Sophia returned with her own family, a husband and 2 children who instantly took to their newfound grandfather. The farmhouse, once lonely and quiet, was now filled with laughter and love. The lesson was clear: kindness has a way of leading us to unexpected places. Sometimes, it brings us full circle, back to where we truly belong.